Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Amen. Okay, class, before you sit down, kindly pick up pieces of papers and arrange your chairs. Before we proceed with our lesson, let's read our objectives first. So for our objectives, at the end of the lessons, the students are expected to define context clues, identify different types of context clues, use context clues to determine the meanings of unfamiliar words, and lastly, show teamwork and cooperation through group activity. So before we proceed with our lesson, let's have a short review first. So let us watch this short video. watched, can you give me a brief summary of the story Beauty and the Beast? Yes, Victor?
Mom, the story is about young prince who turned into a beast and a village currently fell.
Very good. So how about you, Genesis? What do you think is the purpose of giving a summary?
Ma'am, it is to make a basic ideas of the story without reading the whole story.
Very good. Yes.
Okay, class, so before we proceed with our lesson, let's have a game called Figure It Out. So the direction is you need to figure out or decide what word will go best in the blank. So let's go. So the first sentence is the dog ran to fetch the blank. Yes, I'm hearing ball, stick, toy. Okay, so let's find out. The dog ran to fetch the stick. Very good, class. For the second word is, I thought the camp food would be gross, but I actually found it to be quite, yes, I'm hearing delicious, yummy. Okay, so the word is delicious. Very good, class. I thought the camp food would be gross, but I actually found it to be quite delicious. So for the last one, look how blank that cat is. I think that is the smallest cat I've ever seen. So I'm hearing cute, small, tiny. Okay, let's figure it out. Look how tiny that cat is. I think that is the smallest cat I've ever seen. So very good, class.
Class, now that we are done with the game, so let me ask you, how did you come up with that answers?
Ma'am, we just based on answer to the sentence. We have used clues in order to fill in the right word.
Very good. So you found an answer based on the sentence.
Okay, so for you to understand better, let's proceed with our lesson, which is context clues. Now, can you read this, Mabet? Okay, any insights, Mabet? Very good. So context clues can actually help you figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words. So if given a situation that you are unsure of what you are reading, you don't quite seem to understand what you're reading, how will you be able to find out or to know the meaning of the words? Yes, you have to use context clues. Very good, class. So there are actually 4 basic types of context clues. So we have the first one, definition as context clues, synonym as context clues, example as context clues, and antonym as context clues. Okay, so for the first one is definition as context clues. Kiel, can you read this? Okay, so there is actually a sufficient explanation that is given within the sentence. So for you to understand better, let's have an example sentence. So she heard the cry of the banshee, a spirit that alludes to the death of a family member. So the highlighted word here, the unfamiliar word, is actually the banshee. So after the banshee, there is actually the explanation. So a spirit that alludes to the death of a family member. So the unfamiliar word is defined actually within the sentence. Okay, so let's have another example. The dates are listed in chronological order. They start at the beginning and end with the last event. So what do you think is the meaning of the word chronological order? Very good, Kiel. So the beginning and the end with the last event. So it is actually defined within the sentence, the meaning of chronological order. Very good. Okay, so let's proceed with the second one, which is Synonym as context clues. Carol, can you read this? Okay, synonyms are actually words with the same meaning. So, you may discover the meaning of a known word or unfamiliar word because it repeats an idea expressed in familiar words nearby. So, let's have an example for us to understand it better. So, first is Bill felt remorse or shame for his harsh words. What do you think is the meaning of the unfamiliar word here, which is remorse? Shame, very good, because of the word or shame. So it use the word or in order to give the synonym of the word remorse. So remorse, shame. So let's have a second one. Vince was very aloof. He always seems unsociable, unapproachable, and uninterested. So what do you think is the meaning of the unfamiliar word here, which is aloof? Okay, very good. So it is unsociable, unapproachable, and uninterested. So it is actually synonym as context clues. Okay, very good, class. Okay, let's go to the third one, which is antonym as context clues. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. An opposite meaning context clues contrast the meaning of unfamiliar word with the meaning of a familiar term. So, Flor, based on this explanation of antonym as context clues, any insights? Very good. So, on the previous context clues that we have discussed, which is synonym as context clues, there's a word that that means the same as the unfamiliar word in the sentence. While in antonym, there is actually the opposite of the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So, for you to understand better, let's have an example sentence. So, instructor thought the athletes would be famished after the game, but it turns out that they were not hungry at all. So, based on this example sentence, what do you think is the meaning of unfamiliar word, which is famished? Oh, very good. Not hungry at all. So, that is actually the opposite of the unfamiliar word. Very good. Now for the second sentence, Marty is gregarious, unlike his brother who is quiet and shy. So what do you think is the meaning of the word gregarious in this sentence? Quiet and shy. Very good. That is the opposite meaning of gregarious. Very good, class. Okay, so let us proceed with the last type, which is example as context clues. So, Jessa, can you read this? Okay, thank you. So, sometimes when a reader finds a new word or unfamiliar word, an example might be found nearby that helps to explain its meaning. So, words like including, such as, or for example, point out example as context clues. So, do you get it, class? Okay, so for you to understand it better, let's have an example sentence. So, celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and the stars, have fascinated man through the centuries. What do you think is the meaning of celestial? Very good. So, the sun, moon, and the stars. So, it uses the word including. So, in order to give out the meaning of celestial, it used the word including, or it gave an example, which is the sun, moon, and the stars, which are the objects in the sky. Okay, so for the last sentence is, in the course of man's evolution, certain organs have atrophied. The appendix, for example, has wasted away from disuse. So, what do you think is the meaning of atrophied? Very good. So, wasted away. So, because of the word for example. So, do you get it, class? Okay. So, as a review, the four basic types of context clues is definition as context clues, synonym as context clues, example as context clues, and antonym as context clues. So, any question? Clarification? None? Okay. Okay, so since you do not have any question, let us have an exercise. So the direction is find the appropriate meaning of underlined words. The choices are randomized. Okay. Choices are 1,000 years, talkative, native, profound, inevitable, excess. So the first sentence is, my brother said I just freed myself from a very loquacious history professor. All he seemed to want was an audience. So, Kiel, what do you think is the meaning of unfamiliar word here that is underlined? Talkative. Very good. So, let us proceed to the second one. It is difficult to imagine a surfeit of talent in one individual. Yet, Leonard Bernstein simply does not have the time to make complete use of his talent as a conductor, performer, writer, and lecturer. So, Pauline, what do you think is the meaning of unfamiliar word here? Excess. Very good. So, the third one is, there is a large demand all over the United States for plants indigenous to the desert. Many people in Arizona have made a good business of growing and selling cacti and other local plants. Mabeth, what do you think is the meaning of unfamiliar word here? Very good. Native. For the fourth one, Mark, can you read and identify the meaning of unfamiliar word? Very good. Millennium means 1,000 years. Okay, for the last one, we knew he couldn't hold out much longer because he had been doomed from the beginning. One night he met his ineluctable fate. So Genesis, what do you think is the meaning of the word here? Very good. Inevitable fate. Okay, so based on what we have discussed, what do you think is the purpose of context clues? Yes, Genesis? Okay, very good. So, you now understand the meaning of context clues and its four basic types. So, any question regarding this? None? For you to understand our lesson better, let's have an application or activity time. Okay, let's get started. So, group one, you will be the first one who will make or compose a sentence that has context clues. Versus group 2, you will be the one who will guess the meaning of hard to understand words. So whoever gets the highest point will get a reward. So go to your respective groups now. Okay. So for additional direction, so once the first round is done, group 2 will now be the one who will compose a sentence that has context clues, and group 1 will now guess the meaning of hard to understand words that was written by group 2. Okay, let us now proceed. Okay, good job, students. So group 1 actually won and they will get a reward. Okay, class, so please prepare half sheet of paper. We will have an evaluation. So the direction is write the meaning of underlined word based on context clue and identify what type of context clue was used. You have 10 minutes to answer these 5-item questions. Okay, so for your homework, the direction is below are 5 unfamiliar words. What you will do is write a short paragraph using these words and must contain context clues. Write your answer on yellow pad. So the words are idle, lascivious, perjury, odium, and amendment. So this is the score guide. So 5 points. So usage of words and context clues. 10 points for relationship of each word's use. Okay? Do you get it, class? Any question? Okay. Okay, so thank you all for listening and see you on the next class.